For years, young Indians have been graduating into a void. Millions of highly educated students find themselves sitting at home, sending out resumes that go nowhere, and feeling completely invisible to the political establishment. That frustration recently hit a breaking point. Massive national exams like NEET, the primary gateway for medical students, and the CBSE boards suffered catastrophic leaks. Years of intense study evaporated overnight, and for many young people, their entire future was derailed. But instead of answers, they got insulted. Responding to the wave of online criticism from frustrated students, Chief Justice Surya Kant dismissed the young critics as cockroaches and parasites. A decade ago, an insult from the top of the judiciary would have triggered union leaders to print banners, block roads, and march on Parliament. In 2026, the reaction didn't happen in the streets. It happened on social media. A 20-something student named Abhijeet Dipke went on X and posted a sarcastic passing thought. What if all cockroaches come together? This single remark acted as a lightning rod. It gave a name to a shared frustration, turning individual anger into a collective digital identity. Within hours, Dipke used an AI image generator to make a mock political poster and threw together a simple Google form. He called it the Cockroach Janata Party. The party's official eligibility requirements were exactly what the Chief Justice used to describe the youth. To join, you had to be lazy, unemployed, and highly critical of the government. Look at the trajectory on this chart mapping the explosion of membership. They hit 10,000 followers in 12 hours, crossed 30,000 on day 2, and within 72 hours, over 100,000 people officially registered as constituents. The ecosystem quickly expanded. Another digital group adopted the second half of the insult, launching the National Parasitic Front, styling themselves as the formal, more theatrical opposition to the cockroaches. By tapping into internet culture, Generation Z bypassed the massive financial barriers and complex demographic math that usually define Indian politics. They built a decentralized, nationwide political coalition over a single weekend, using nothing but Wi-Fi and a shared sense of grievance. While the packaging is absurd, the actual policies they are pushing are not a joke at all. Underneath the memes is a highly structured critique of institutional rot. Their first order of business addresses the exam crisis directly. They demand the immediate sacking of Education Minister Dharmendra Pradhan, arguing that without executive accountability at the very top, the system will continue to fail students. They target the judiciary next. Their manifesto calls for a complete ban on giving retired judges seats in the Rajya Sabha, arguing these post-retirement rewards destroy the independence of the courts. They also demand a strict 50% reservation for women in government. Crucially, they insist on implementing it immediately, stripping away the complex delimitation rules, the process of redrawing constituency boundaries, that traditional parties often use to delay actual representation. Finally, they want long electoral bans for politicians who switch parties. They specifically call out lawmakers who flip their allegiances just to avoid investigations by federal agencies. The entire manifesto operates like a Trojan horse. By wrapping incredibly dense systemic demands inside a viral internet joke, they force mainstream audiences to read and share political reforms they would usually ignore. This strategy relies on a specific defense mechanism: weaponized irony. When a political movement actively brands itself as a swarm of lazy insects, it builds a specialized defense. If a traditional politician tries to attack the Cockroach Janata Party, they end up yelling at a meme. The elite look entirely out of touch, while the youth dictate the terms of the conversation. This tactical absurdity trapped the establishment. Prominent members of parliament, like Mahua Moitra, were forced to engage with the parody accounts publicly, validating the movement and bringing its demands onto the floor of legitimate political discourse. This satirical framing allows a disenfranchised generation to punch up at high-level elites, while making the standard playbook of political retaliation much harder to execute. Eventually, the momentum grew too large to stay contained online. The party crossed over into physical reality. Volunteers literally dressed up in cockroach costumes and mobilized for a public cleanup drive along the heavily polluted Yamuna River. They took the insult and turned it into a highly visible performance of civic duty. This model transforms passive consumption into active participation. It takes the energy of online venting and applies it to a functioning method for collective organizing. The Election Commission of India doesn't officially recognize the Cockroach Janata Party or the National Parasitic Front, but in a media ecosystem where attention dictates policy, massive visibility is its own form of hard political power. When the formal system ignores earnest demands, a new generation of voters realized weaponized mockery is the only tool left to force change. In this meme politics era, making the system look ridiculous has evolved from a simple coping mechanism into a deliberate strategy to demand institutional accountability.